Once you learn to accept that you made choices from your past based off of what you knew in that moment, you won't continue to beat yourself up about how things happen because you can't go back and change them. So, when it comes to forgiving yourself from the past, from poor decisions, you just have to learn from what has happened to you and how it made you feel. And you have to communicate, articulate, and express the emotions that you went through because it's not like you can go back in time. And being in your present moment, being in your current reality, worrying and just being angry and holding on to these suppressed feelings is not going to help you. So that's what we're going to talk about. Welcome and welcome back. It's your favorite mental health specialist, Guidance. And when it comes to you just forgiving yourself in general, right? We only know what we're exposed to. And majority of the time, as you're growing in life, as you experience and become wiser, you realize that like you made certain choices because of where you were with what you had, whether it was financially, emotionally, physically, psychologically, like howeverly, like the times where you were only exposed to certain information or had access to certain resources is what you did. And if you can learn to change your perspective and realize that it was a situation for you to grow in. So forgiving yourself from your past is just growing and accepting that you cannot continue to do those things and you know how it made you feel. Now, in the moment, as you're going through these things, it is challenging and difficult because we don't know the future. Like 5 years ago, I wouldn't have imagined where I am now. But because I'm only in the present moment and I can't go back in time, I can determine what I would like to do moving forward within the next 5 years of my life. I don't know if that's going to be guaranteed to me or not. So it's just like being grateful for being here right now, learning what you did in your past, and just knowing that you don't have to continue to make those choices. And if you didn't have the support, if you didn't have the friends, if you didn't have the guidance and the wisdom, beating yourself up is not going to do anything for you. A lot of times when we make certain choices and we don't have a lot of information or we don't have a lot of resources, the options and the choices are a reflection of that. So, for example, something that I used to beat myself up all the time was getting into a really bad car accident. I've been in like maybe like 3 to 5 car accidents that I could remember, but there was one specifically. I was 19 years old. I was never taught how to drive. So it was really bad. It was really bad. And like, I just at the time was just so angry. And I remember like a year later, I was just so frustrated at myself. But I had to realize like, nobody taught me how to drive. And I'm just grateful that I was alive because I really could have been dead, honestly, if we're speaking. It was really bad. But as I grew, as I became mature, as I became wiser, I realized that this situation was the one teach me how valuable life is if you don't know that already, to slow down. It taught me how to drive, to be more alert, to be more, cautious of myself in the vehicle, and just it gave me a lot of responsibility. So it's just like in the moment at the time, it's like, oh my God, the insurance went up for the car. Like it was so chaotic. And it's not until, time goes by, and that's why people say time tells, that things eventually get better. Like I couldn't stay mad and angry forever. And it also made me realize that you just have to learn. And there was another time, I think I was in high school, so it was only a couple of times that I was in the car with my parents. The second time was with my mom, and I remember we were driving back from my high school. We went to, I think, a football game or something, some type of event at my high school, and I was like maybe like 5 minutes away from my home, and the same thing, but somebody else hit us. It was a drunk driver that hit me and my mom, and it was really bad too. But same thing, like she was in the car, like I was practicing teaching myself how to drive, and like that time it gave me PTSD. And like I remember that accident, I was just like, I was afraid to drive. And I just remember some people in my life at that time were like, you can't limit yourself and be afraid to drive. Now, of course, when it comes to forgiving yourself and dealing with PTSD, take your time. I'm not telling you to rush. This happened almost, I think, 10 years ago, that car accident. Like I said, I've been in a lot of car accidents, but I'm still alive by the grace of God and Sister Universe. So it's just like the choices that we make when we're younger, sometimes we don't know any better. And even when we know better, learning to just be okay with how things happen to you. Like, if you still have the opportunity to make better choices, it's gonna get better. And like I said, in the moment, it is frustrating, it is discouraging, it does make you feel some type of way. I'm not here to invalidate you as your favorite mental health specialist. We're not here to invalidate you. It's just like suppressing anger and frustration and holding on to energy that's not helping you is unhealthy. It's toxic. So coming from a dysfunctional background and toxic environment and only knowing what you know, like, it's like you're already dealing with so many different things in life. And it's like I've been through so much just like everybody else. That's why I make these videos for people like you, because it's like you need to feel safe and you need to be seen. But in order for you to do that, like, you just gotta talk about how you feel. You don't need to be embarrassed. You don't need to feel judged. Like, I'm not embarrassed. I don't feel judged. Like, I've never cared about anybody enough to think about what they think of me or how they feel me, because people don't know what you go through. People don't know what you go through. You know how you feel. And if, once again, you're young making choices, you realize that there are a lot of choices that I made, and I'm grateful that I've learned them early on, like young. Like, I have always been a mature person because of how I was raised and the things that I've gone through within the 27 years of my life. About to be 28 soon, because it's mid-September, you guys. It's only, what, October, November, December. It's 3 months left of 2024. Like, child. But anyways, I'm grateful that I made the choices, and a lot of them early on, because it's like as you get older, if you're able to live, that's why I'm telling you guys just to be grateful. You're not going to continue to make those choices. Like, they were choices that I made with friends and family, and instead of beating myself up, instead of, holding on to it about certain places and environment, I just let it go. So what you can do to start forgiving yourself is just talk about how you feel, whether it's with me. You follow us here on YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok at Guidance, TYI.guidance. You book a session at my website at tyguidance.summer.com. You go to a licensed therapist. You go to a counselor. You talk to somebody that you love and trust. You get a journal. You express yourself, or you find some type of outlet to express how you feel, whether that's working out, dancing, painting, skateboarding, some type of activity, whatever you like to do that makes you feel good about yourself. Like, it's not the end of the world. Just what I can tell you about forgiveness is being gentle, being patient, and knowing that that version of you, and I recently talked about this, about you becoming the best version of yourself, existed at one point in time, and they didn't know no better. Like, 17-year-old Ty, she didn't know how to drive. 19-year-old Ty, she thought she knew how to drive, but she didn't. Like, 20-year-old Ty, when she went through a lot of stuff, she didn't know no better. 18-year-old Ty, she didn't know no better. Like, 5-year-old Ty, 5-year-old you, what's your name? Whenever you see this, comment your name down below. Like, you didn't know any better. And if you do know better and you make certain choices, because that's a different topic for a different video, you can't be upset. That's why it's really important to think about the things that you do. And if you have people like myself or loved ones who care about you, they're going to tell you the truth. Like, I've had certain elders in my life who cared about me and would tell me, like, someone personally to me was my father. He's no longer in my life. He used to tell me. And as a child, I wasn't able to comprehend because I wasn't fully developed. But as I've gotten older, I realized, like, you got to be mindful of what you do, because it is going to cost you. Like, the reason why certain people are doing the things they're doing is because of their actions. And it's just like, it's not anybody's place to judge you, so don't worry about it. But it's just like, you just got to be responsible. As you grow older to be an adult, it doesn't have to be hard. Life doesn't have to be chaotic. Just learn to be responsible. Own up to what has happened to you. Own up to how it's made you feel. And keep moving forward. Like, that's all you can do. Like, this is all about raising your vibration, because it's like, if I would have continued to be afraid to drive, I wouldn't have the car that I have now. I wouldn't be able to, go to places and see things. Like, I could not let that affect me, like, I could have been very much so paralyzed. I do have to get surgery, like, don't get it twisted, but I'm not going to allow that to hinder me. So it's just like, I was just really grateful that out of all the car accidents that I've survived, I'm just living and I'm making better choices. Like, now, the car that I have, I take my time. I don't rush. I don't like people who speed because of those reasons. I don't know, you guys. I don't know what that was. That just spooked me out. But yeah, so forgiving yourself just requires a lot of patience, grace, expression, and you can't be afraid. Like, when you decide to heal, I'm just going to say this, you got to be open-minded and you got to be vulnerable. Like, why do you care about people judging you and with you expressing your feelings? Like, it doesn't matter if you're black, doesn't matter if you're white, doesn't matter if you're a man, doesn't matter if you're a woman. Like, why do you value people's judgment? Say how you feel. Like, those people who are judging you go through the same amount of sugar honey iced tea, if not more. It's just not publicly, and they don't have the audacity and the courage that you do. Say how you feel. Learn to be mindful. Learn from the choices. Don't do it again. It's simple. If not, just know everything you do in life comes with a consequence. So if you're not ready for the consequence, if you don't want to be responsible, take a step back. And forgiveness just requires patience, just like any and everything else in life. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know if you're interested in more videos like this. I think the next video is going to be similar to this, but make sure you follow, like, comment, subscribe, turn on your post notification bells, and follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. All information will be down in the description box below. And once again, if you want a one-on-one session, head to tyguidance.somewhere.com. Okay, till next time, love you, bye. Thanks for watching, and most importantly, be patient. Forgiveness takes a while, just like healing. There's no right or wrong way to do it. It could take months, years, days, but the more you express yourself, the more you grieve, the more you learn, the more you be gentle, the more you let go of anything that's not serving you mentally, psychologically, emotionally, spiritually, the more it will get better. You just got to take your time, go through the things you're going through, and just keep it moving. Just keep your head up and don't give up on yourself. If you feel overwhelmed, rest. When it comes to you forgiving yourself, depending on what it is that you got to forgive yourself, write yourself a letter. I challenge you to write yourself a letter to your past self about what has happened to you, how it made you feel, and what you're going to do for your future self as your current self. Okay? Bye.